All right, today we're going to dive into a strategy that's, well, it's pretty counterintuitive, but incredibly powerful. It's called the 7 Days of Silence. Think of it as a psychological tool that, if you use it right, can totally flip the script when the stakes are high.
So let me ask you this. Do you ever feel like in a negotiation or an argument, the other person knows exactly what you're going to do next? Like they've got your playbook and they're just reading ahead? And let me tell you, that feeling, that predictability, is a massive, massive strategic weakness. Let's get into why. Look, it's simple. When your opponent can predict your every move, they're not just playing along with you, they're controlling the entire game. They can set traps for you, they can prep their counter-arguments, and they can shut down your best ideas before you even get them out. Basically, you're handing them the keys to the whole thing and you're stuck just reacting. But what if you could take those keys back? And this is where things get really interesting. We're going to talk about a pretty radical idea, using silence, not as weakness, but as an actual weapon. I mean, just think about it for a second. What if the most powerful thing you could do in a really tense situation was to do and say absolutely nothing at all? So what is the 7 Days of Silence? Well, it's not about ignoring a problem or hoping it goes away. No, this is an active, deliberate choice to go completely radio silent for 1 week. And the goal? Oh, the goal is to just shatter their expectations, to create this vacuum that they are just forced to fill themselves. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? We live in a world of instant replies and constant noise. So when you suddenly introduce a calculated, planned silence, it's unsettling. It's a move that can be way, way louder than any words you could have said.
Okay, so how does this actually work, in the real world? Let's break down the 7-day timeline and see exactly how this strategy just dismantles an opponent's confidence and shifts the entire balance of power. Okay, so day 1. They're feeling pretty good, just waiting for that typical reply from you. No big deal. By day 3, though, your silence starts to create confusion. They're second-guessing themselves, replaying things in their head. By day 5, that confusion, it is turned into real gnawing anxiety. Their whole plan depended on how you'd react, and without that, they're lost. And by day 7, they're so desperate for any response that they're way more likely to mess up, give away information, or just give in, simply to break that awful tension.
And this is the absolute brilliance of this tactic. You're not attacking them. You're creating an empty space, a void, and they are psychologically compelled to fill it with their own doubts, their own fears, and all their worst-case scenarios. They literally start negotiating against themselves.
The process is actually pretty simple, but it is just devastatingly effective. First, you break the pattern. You just refuse to give them what they expect. That creates the void. Then, their own mind starts racing. And that's when their confidence starts to crumble and they question their whole position. And finally, that anxiety pushes them, and it pushes them into making a mistake.
So we've seen the psychological impact, right? Now let's talk about the tangible results. I mean, what do you actually get out of this week of being strategically silent?
Think about it. Your opponent starts out feeling confident, in control, totally proactive. But after 7 days of nothing from you, their entire mindset gets flipped upside down. They become confused, anxious, reactive. They're not playing their game anymore. Now they're just desperately trying to figure out yours.
And listen, this isn't just about making someone feel uncomfortable. This is about achieving real, concrete goals. You seize the initiative. You force them to show their cards, to reveal their weaknesses. You totally disrupt their ability to think clearly and plan. The entire power dynamic just shifts in your favor.
When it's all said and done, this whole strategy is about one thing, and one thing only: control. By choosing when to speak again, you and you alone get to dictate the pace and the direction of this conflict. You're back in the driver's seat.
So let's wrap this up. We've seen how a deliberate 7-day pause can transform a huge disadvantage into a position of incredible psychological strength.
And the key thing to remember, the big takeaway, is this: strategic silence isn't passive. It's not a failure to act. It is a powerful, intentional, and often game-winning move all on its own. In any confrontation, really, the person who controls the flow of communication is usually the one who controls the outcome. And by mastering silence, you master a huge part of that flow.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. By making the choice to say nothing, you force your opponent to make a move. And when they're working from a place of pure confusion and anxiety, well, their next move is very, very likely to be a mistake that works for you.